Don't underestimate people that are new to the industry. Just because somebody's new doesn't mean they're not naturally talented, or they pick something up, or they see something that they're willing to try that somebody else hasn't tried. And, you know, they too can bring something amazing.
Was it always microblading to start with primarily? Is that where you really kind of built your name?
Yeah, I built my business more or less on one treatment.
Everyone wants you because of how great you are. How long did it take you to really perfect that skill were you just naturally quite good?
There's so much training, knowledge available, like tools and different techniques for you to be able to master now.
Do you come from like an artistic background?
You have to know the boundary, and that really served me quite well.
And you're doing it in something you love, which actually helps people feel amazing as well as look amazing too.
I think it is just as simple as that, Sam, is I am just no airs and graces. I am just who I am, and I want my client to be who they are.
Thank you so much for coming into the HWHQ. You're the proud owner of Inka Belle, a beauty and aesthetics brand in Holbridge in Essex, right?
That's right.
And yeah, thanks for coming on. I mean, I thought it would be really interesting to have a conversation. You've built a really special brand over the past, how long have you been in business? About 10 years?
13 this year.
13 years. So over a decade in the industry, you've built an incredible client base. You're like a flagship kind of spot for your community. I've spent a couple of days in your clinic and you really have that kind of homely feel where people just pop in, they say hi, and you know, what you've done with your client base has been incredible. So I thought it'd be great to just have a conversation. I'm sure a lot of aspiring clinic owners or existing clinic owners could learn a lot just from hearing about your experience and your story. But a good place to start for the viewers who might not know, who are you and what do you do?
So, Kierra, I'm the owner of Inka Belle, and what do I do? We do more than just treatments. We work with people, we look at them as individuals, and we build relationships with our clients.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like with your clients as well. I mean, you've been in business for the 13th year this year. How many of your clients have been with you throughout like the majority of that period?
I've actually got quite a number of clients that have been with me right from the beginning. And although I would never recommend this, and I actually feel embarrassed even saying it, some of them started having their treatments done with me in my kitchen, in my own house. So 13 years ago when I first started, I was based in a tattoo studio in Southend, and I built relationships with other salons, and I went in and done clinic days for them. So they had their own client base, and I was offering a treatment and a service that they wasn't. So we'd do clinic days, I'd go in and I'd do their clients' permanent makeup. And as a way of building my own clients, like starting with friends and then friends of friends, they was actually coming to my home. And it kind of got to a point where I had friends of friends' friends. And I suddenly started thinking, this is really, really like,
taking off.
It's taking off, but in a very unprofessional way. So at that point, I then went and rented a room in the back of someone else's salon. And I was there for a number of years, and built my own client base from that room, as well as then obviously still traveling around to other salons and doing their clients.
Where did the name Inka Belle come from?
So this, again, so I trained obviously in permanent makeup, and I kind of threw it out there to, you know, girls have got their WhatsApp chats and stuff, and I just put it out there to my close friends, and I was like, girls, right, I'm training in this is what I'm going to do. I need something really, really catchy. And one of my friends is extremely talented. She actually has set up her Billericay Theatre, and she's extremely talented, and she's so good at these things. And she just come back out with, Kierra, your beauty treatment that you're offering is purely with ink. So why don't you go with Inka Belle? Playing on the name, well, the Inka, then obviously the Belle with the beauty side of things. And that's it. It stuck.
It's a good name. I like the name.
I loved it straight away. I was a little bit worried that it might be kind of like, you know, like the Tinkerbell kind of is its own in and on the childlike thing. But no one's ever questioned that. It's never come up, and it's just, it's what it is.
To be fair, I never really actually thought about Tinkerbell and Inka Belle. It sounds similar, but I don't think anyone
but
make the correlation.
Like, I don't want to be targeting children. I don't want people to think that I'm targeting children. But it was never even questioned, and it took off. And yeah, it's a name that people remembered. So I have Helen to thank for that.
Yeah, shout out Helen if you're watching. So your flagship treatment where you really came up, and was it always microblading to start with primarily? Is that where you really kind of built your name?
So it was always machine based, and yeah, I built my business more or less on one treatment. So it was eyebrows. I just zoned in. It was the only thing that I offered. And I decided actually to be known to specialize in one thing rather than lots of different things was the direction I wanted to go in. And it worked.
So with microblading, as your like kind of primary treatment starting and coming up, because I've seen your eyebrows, they look great. And you if anything, I guess like I don't know if problem's the right word. It's a good problem to have, but everyone wants you because of how great you are and how kind of well known you are in your area for eyebrows you've become. How long did it take you to really perfect that skill and were you just naturally quite good? Do you come from like an artistic background?
Shall I be really honest?
Yeah.
13 years ago, there wasn't very many people doing it. So when I was posting work, in reality, when I look now, it was bad work, but there was nothing to compare it with.
Yeah.
So nobody realised it was bad work. The industry has come on like so far. Years ago, we literally just used to draw the eyebrows and we used to just colour them in the pigments that we had. It's not like that anymore. There is no excuse now really to be bad because there's so much training, knowledge available, like tools and different techniques for you to be able to master now. Am
I right in saying that you can't really afford to make a mistake when you're tattooing on the eye? Because I swear, like if your hand slips, like you're just cooked, aren't you? Because it's tattoo ink, right?
So when I say like bad work and good work, the things that you do need as an artist are
steady hand.
Yeah, steady hand, obviously, but you have to have that ethnicity. So you have to know the boundary. So I was always remember knowing that when I done the pre-draw, regardless of what happened once I broke the skin, the pre-draw was the pre-draw and we did not make any changes until after the heal. And that really served me quite well because there were times when clients of mine would sit up and I'd look and I would think, oh my God, you know, one's a little bit higher than the other or one's like, that's not what it looked like when I was drawing them on. And I just remember trusting the process and knowing that when you break skin or you're working in skin, things change, right? They swell or they react. So do not change the pre-draw. You can always come back and you can add at a later date, but you can't then take away. So I think that really served me well.
That makes sense. So, I mean, like where you are now, so you've built a very, very successful business. Clients want you, like you're so busy and it's a great problem to have. How long did it take you to really build up that steady client base, which has changed your life?
It happened really quickly, Sam, literally overnight. So when I started, I'd done my training. Obviously, I started to build around another job. So I had another job. Within 3 months, I gave notice on that job because I was so busy. And that literally came from word of mouth. So that was my clients going out. Remembering again, you know, back 13 years ago, there wasn't many people doing it. So when people were having it done, they were recommending me. They were telling people who had done their treatment and it just kind of spiraled from there. They built very, very quickly. So I was very, very lucky.
Oh, that's so interesting. How long would you say it really took you to get good at the skill? Because I mean, your work's great now. You're one of the best in the industry, arguably. That's why, you know, clients have stayed with you for so long, right? But like, how long do you really think it takes to perfect a skill?
I'm still perfecting it. I'll perfect it until the day I stop because the industry changes. And in this job, you can never know too much. So don't ever get complacent with what you know. Education is key, isn't it? And learning from other people. And if someone can do something or make your life easier with a different technique or a different pigment or something, you're never going to stop learning in this industry.
Yeah, I love that. People say, I can't remember who quoted this, but the day you stop learning is the day you die, you know? And I feel like if anyone has the mindset where they can't learn or can't get better, it's a very toxic mindset to have.
Hugely. And also, you know, don't underestimate people that are new to the industry. Just because somebody's new doesn't mean they're not naturally talented or they pick something up or they see something that they're willing to try that somebody else hasn't tried, and you know they too can bring something amazing to the industry. So never judge someone just on years of experience. Look at their mindset and what they bring.
Yeah, definitely. How has running this business changed your life from where you were before? when you were working in a job?
It's changed it hugely. Would I say the industry has changed it, or finally following what I knew I should? I think I was very stuck before. I just went into a job that was probably safe. I did enjoy that job, but it was very safe, as in like regular pay and kind of just in the system, just doing what you're supposed to do.
What was the job? What were you doing?
So I actually worked for a charity with hard to reach children that were living with domestic abuse, were at risk of going into care, had a lot of crime background. And I worked my way up from a project worker into a management position. And when I got to that management position, I realised that that just was not for me. I wasn't a report writer or a kind of meeting kind of girl. Should I say I wasn't willing to sit there and just bullshit to the right people? It just didn't serve me. So I finally took the step into doing something and coming away from that. I'd actually always kind of been a bit scared of not having the security, the payment security and the financial security. And it was a risk, but actually it was a risk that I took that's actually given me financial freedom.
What was your salary when you were working in a job, and how does it compare to like what you are now?
About 22,000.
22K.
Yeah.
I guess this was, how many years ago was this? 12 years?
So I was taking home about 1,400 or 600, something around that after
Taxes.
After the taxes. So my pay was just under 2,000 a year. And then obviously then you'd take away the tax.
And like compared to now, how does that compare to now?
I could earn my monthly wage in a day.
Quick pause from the podcast to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, Harvey Warrington Media. Harvey Warrington Media are a growth partner for aesthetic clinics, training academies, and coaches who help and work with some of the biggest names in the industry. So if you're a clinic, academy, or a coach and you need help with paid ads, lead gen, content creation, being seen, and generating more revenue, message us on Instagram at Harvey_Warrington_media and speak with one of my team, and we can talk about how we can blow you up on social media to generate more business. That's so insane.
Yeah.
That's so insane, right? And you're doing it in something you love, which actually helps people feel amazing as well as look amazing too. So like from a lifestyle perspective, like how has it kind of changed your day-to-day outside of work? Like what has business as a whole allowed you to do what you just couldn't ever do when you were working in a job?
So I can work when I want to work. That's the reality. Like, I guess I never really that didn't happen overnight, obviously. I guess I never realised until after I had children the importance of that. When I had my children, especially like when they started school and things like that, I realised actually I don't have to go in on the school holidays and I can drop them off to school and pick them up. And again, I realised I didn't have to meet every client's needs. I could say, actually, this is what works for me now. And like you hear that all the time, like, oh, you're living the dream, doing the school runs, doing this.
Yeah.
The reality of that is you can do the school runs, you can live the dream and do the school runs, but are you actually then present after the school run? Are you with your kids? Are you able to take them to the park or go to the clubs and actually be there in the moment? Or are you still lost in the phone in work and trying to run everything and stressed and snapping at the children because you're there with them, but you're actually still
at work
doing something, so you're not actually there. And again, that's a balance I've had to find, because that was a reality that I was also in, thinking, I'm living the dream, but then obviously having no patience because I was trying to keep up with everything. Now I'm a little bit more stricter with my time.
You said something to me off camera, maybe when we spoke about a week ago. You were like, when you have kids, your whole perception of life and your priorities change. Everything changes. In what way does it change from where before you didn't have kids?
So before I had children, I think I always knew I wanted children. It was very important to me that I had them at the right time with the right person, which luckily for me, that was the case. But you think of it as kind of like you'll meet a man, you'll get married, you'll have children, you'll go on lovely holidays, you build lovely memories. And then all of a sudden you have this child, and your reality is this child is one day going to be an adult. And my job as a parent is not to have just made sure that we've done all these nice things or they've had all this nice stuff. Actually, my job is, are they going to be resilient enough to manage the world when you're not there to hold it for them. And it's not about stepping in as a parent and fixing everything. It's about actually stepping back, not rushing to save them, and helping them to be able to manage that situation and save themselves. Like,
that's so
hard.
Interesting. Yeah, do you know what? Like, thinking about it from that perspective, I don't have kids yet, but I could imagine when you do it, such a eye-opening situation. Like, the dangers of the world are insane, but when you don't have kids, maybe you just don't think about the dangers as much.
You definitely don't see things in the same way as from what happened to me, my perspective.
Yeah.
And also having children brings up things that you didn't know within yourself.
What kind of things?
Again, if somebody else's baby was crying or, misbehaving or whatever, I would never really take any notice of that. What happened for me when my baby had cow's milk allergy, which I didn't realise. So there was a kind of a cry for hunger. You'd feed the baby, and then there would be a cry from excruciating pain, and like the cycle was just there. And the trigger of that panic of, I can't fix it, I don't know what's wrong, I'm not doing something right. And then you kind of look for support, because this kid doesn't come with any instructions. Everyone else's kid's just laying there and going to sleep, and mine's freaking out.
Where's the manual?
Yeah, but it's that kind of like, I don't know what to do. I'm a mum, I'm supposed to know what to do, and I don't know that. And also just to know that, like, when your baby's crying, you have that kind of, I want to comfort him, I want to take the pain away, I want to stop, but also I want you to shut the fuck up, because I can't cope and I can't think. And it brings in things where you need to actually step back and think, okay, how am I managing this?
I can imagine it's hard to manage. Like, I mean, some kids, I guess, if they know when they cry, they're going to get attention, that creates the incentive for the kid to cry, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to see your kid cry. So how do you...
It's kind of understanding kids need to cry. So I guess, do you know what, actually, this is just sort of coming to, I guess it's because my husband will say that I'm an ice cream. I'm cold, I'm emotionless. I do not show my emotions. I'm not saying I don't cry. I'm not saying that I don't feel things. I feel things very deeply. But on the surface, I don't tend to be emotional in front of people. And I guess it's kind of actually learning, like, now the kids are older as well, is making sure that they realise that crying is normal and it's okay to cry. Let's cry it out. Where is that coming from? How are we going to manage that? Like, release it, let it move forward, like, and not inflicting that kind of, oh, just shut up, kind of response.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier I found interesting. So it's setting kids up so they're able to be resilient enough to handle the dark realities of the world.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's hard because, again, you kind of, don't get me wrong, every parent will make mistakes. I'm not the perfect parent by any means. I think what I'm learning along the way is just be accountable for that and be aware of what perhaps you haven't handled very well, and then change it so that you can handle it better next time. I'm very much a believer in apologising to the children. So if I do shout at them one day because I'm under pressure, under stress, actually acknowledge that to them afterwards, not necessarily in the moment, but say, like, Mummy shouted a lot this morning and I am sorry for that. Mummy needs to manage that a different way, so that they know, again, mistakes are okay. Like, you just move forward from them, own them and move forward from them, and then try and do it a different way next time.
Yeah, for sure. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 boys.
2 boys?
Yeah.
2 boys. Yeah, they look like they got a lot of energy from what I can see as well.
They do. So Bertie was an IVF baby, actually.
Wow.
We tried for him, and it was a difficult process to go through. So, but obviously we got very, very lucky. So he was an IVF baby, and then we kind of was expecting that to be it. And Bobby just snuck on in there really unexpectedly.
Go on, Bobby.
And we had him 14 months after. So.
Yeah. No, Bobby wasn't IVF either.
No, he was like just a massive surprise. An unexpected massive surprise.
I mean, surprise is a nicer way to put it then.
Oh God, he wasn't, I wouldn't say he was ever not wanted. He just wasn't
of course.
Expected.
Yeah.
He whirlwinded into this life, and he hasn't stopped whirlwinding since. So,
well, I wonder if IVF triggers the reproductive system more. Is that what maybe happened?
They do say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, IVF it's not cheap, is it? It's very expensive.
It's not cheap. It's not. If it's something that you want, I suppose, again, like you prioritize where you spend your money. What I wasn't aware of when I went through it very privately. Me and my husband actually decided not to tell anybody. We just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Ourselves. We wasn't something we spoke about. Although it wasn't a secret. Once we'd been through it, we fell pregnant. We announced it. We didn't keep it a secret that that's what we'd done. And I have been so surprised of how many clients and women have then opened up about having the same fertility issues and also going through IVF. And I'm just so surprised how many clients and how many women go through this.
Yeah, I've got a friend in particular that springs to mind. He's been trying to have kids for years and he's gone through quite a few IVF different cycles now. And they're at a stage where, they just bought a dog because I think they've kind of just realised that it's not really happening, which is sad. It's really sad.
It's a really difficult journey, very difficult journey.
Most definitely. Is that a big motivator for you, the children, with business? Like, how does it kind of change work ethic? Because I've heard different stories with this.
Yeah, so I suppose before I had children, it was all about work.
Yeah.
I'd work all the hours. I probably didn't have any kind of work boundaries. I could start early, I could finish late, I could add that client in, I could do what I wanted, really. I actually think I had a choice. I could have gone at one point when I got married, the business was booming, it was, we was going in such a good direction, and it was quite stressful because obviously it's lots of hours, lots of things going on. And I had a choice. I thought about opening up the training academy. And if I'm being honest, that's where the money is. It's in the training. There was a few things that were kind of sitting right for me. So I knew that I would have had to have done it in a slightly different way to everyone else. And I would have had to have put in quite a lot of hours to kind of build that and make that work properly. But obviously I was trying for a baby and it wasn't happening. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to do was actually reduce the stress, reduce the hours, and kind of start to look after me a bit better. So look at what I was eating, go to the gym, move my body a bit more, kind of really concentrate on myself. And I actually stepped away from the business. And luckily for me, obviously that journey worked. I got pregnant, I become a mother. And again, at that point, I just thought, you know what, this was what I wanted. I wanted to be a mum and I want to be very present in their life and build memories and not miss it. And so I actually pulled back and slowed work down.
That's insane. And your boys are that you've been a mum for how long? 7 years, 6 years?
6, 7, Sam. It's like
6 and 7. 6 and 7. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. There's a couple of things I see sometimes just with the way that society progresses where it feels like intimacy between men and women is a lot less, is the word prevalent, where it's like less common. I saw a statistic that men are lonelier than they've ever been. And I think from where technology's become so impactful, there's guys that are having relationships with AI, women now that artificially intelligence women, it's a real thing. And I feel like on the flip side of that, women are more, not all of course, but a lot of women are more career focused now. So in a way, it's like, I feel like less people are having kids. Do you feel like that's going to be kind of impactful to society?
I kind of understand why less people are having kids if they're choosing, not obviously if they can't, but I feel like a lot more people are choosing not to have children.
Why do you feel that is?
How do I say this without... So I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah. Shit men.
No, I don't think it's anything to do with shit men. I think there's a generation now where it's more but it's not even a bad thing, but they're understanding that no one's coming to save them. It's about them. It's like, I think back to when I was younger and everyone was, we was going to the clubs and we was out till 3, 4 and we'd get a McDonald's and pinwheels, microwaves were absolutely fine. And nobody knew anything about protein and supplements. And, if you went to the gym, you was going to the gym because you wanted to be stick thin, not because you wanted to actually have any shape. Everything shifted and everything has changed. And actually, I think the next generation are a lot more around themselves and a lot more self-aware of what their body needs, what they need, what what to spend their money on. Like there's no clubs and stuff anymore. They go on nice holidays or lunches or spa days, and it's actually quite nice. But I think no one's really buying houses. A lot of people still live at home and invest their money in stuff that serves them in the younger generation.
Yeah.
My observation.
I remember when I was like in my early 20s and a teenager, you are right. There was still like a gym scene for sure, but people were less educated, I think, about whole foods. And like, I used to eat Rustler burgers every day and they were beautifully tasty. But that's so bad for you.
Yeah.
But now, like, I mean, I'll be in a sauna sometimes in the gym and there'll be like a couple of young, good looking lads in there. And they'll overhear the conversation. What are you doing this weekend? I was like, oh, I'm training for a High Rocks. What are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go on a 10K run. I was like, you need to go out and go and get drunk with your friends. I feel like you need to.
It's a different generation.
It is. But is that like, I would love to know if they're happier or if they're not, because I feel like a big part of life is that human connection. And although, don't get me wrong, like when we were growing up, it was definitely less healthy. For sure it was, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
I loved how I grew up. Like oh my God, if you wanted to speak to your friend, you had to ring their house phone and ask their mum and dad if they, they could come to the phone. That's how old I am, Sam.
I remember the days of internet where, do you remember AOL?
Yeah.
So AOL, like if you were on MSN or the computer, if the phone rang, the internet would just cut out. Completely cut out. Yeah. Simpler times.
What simpler times?
Happier times, perhaps?
I think every generation you speak to, because if you speak to the generation above us and above them, you know what you know, don't you?
You do. I do just feel like life's become so serious. It feels like everything's become so political. And you know what? Like if you just turn off the news and stop scrolling on social media for 5 minutes, the majority of the problems of the world just disappear completely. They completely go away. I was chatting to a guy in the gym. He's 60 and he got diagnosed with testicular cancer 8 years ago. He defeated it, but he was so wrapped up in the news and watching BBC, and he said COVID really affected him because you remember in the news during COVID, they'd have the live death toll. It was like a lottery number and it would automatically upload on the screen. Like there's been 25,652 deaths, 53, 54, 55. And he said he was losing his mind because of it. He beat the cancer and he hasn't watched the news since COVID. And he said he's never been happier.
So very similar. I stopped watching the news in COVID. And then when the salon opened, one of my clients was talking to me about the Prime Minister and I didn't realise it wasn't Boris Johnson anymore.
Really? Oh, that's so funny.
I was like that far behind.
It's not a bad thing though.
No, it's so negative. And one thing I would say, mindset is everything.
Yeah.
And again, that's something that I always try and teach the boys. Like, if you can control your mindset and channel it positively, you're winning.
1,000%.
Every aspect of life, how you view something and your mindset around that situation.
You have a great mindset. You're very positive. How have you built that mindset over the years? Like, do you feel like you naturally had it or have you cultivated it with personal development?
Don't know. I think I've always tried to be more open in any situation. I've always tried to understand that there's different points of views in any situation and my point of view is not always necessarily the right one. I've always tried to be mindful that everyone's entitled to their opinion and again, be respectful of the fact that we're allowed different opinions. Sometimes I do battle with it. It's not, I think it's something, the mindset's something you have to work on all the time. But I think the more you can control it and the way you focus it in the direction you want, the better it's going to be for you as an individual.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk a little bit about your clients, your business. So you've built what a lot of people struggle to build, and it's not just a business, it's not just a brand. You've built a community. You've built almost like I don't know if movement is the right word, but it's the culture of Inka Belle, which for me really stood out to me when we started working on a project together. You're unforgivably yourself, right? And I think that's really served you well, actually. But I'd love to know how you feel you've built that culture within your business where people come through the door and they're just themselves and they're great paying clients and they pay you all the time. How have you done it?
I think it is just as simple as that, Sam, is I am just no airs and graces. I am just who I am. And I want my client to be who they are. There's one thing I think right from the beginning, it's It's kind of been a thing in the past, probably still now, but some beauty, there's been some bitchiness, there's been some nastiness. I have been in situations where I've been in salons where I've heard them talking with clients about other clients, or I've heard that, you know, seen that client leave, and I've heard staff members talking about that client. For me, that's absolutely a no-go. You do not, that client's coming in, that client is there. She or he are allowed to be themselves. They're allowed their own opinion. They're allowed their own views. They're allowed to be who they want to be. And there is not one person in my clinic, whether it be another client or a staff member, that is going to disrespect that in front of me. I will call that out. It's not going to happen. You know, when you come into my salon, you are welcome for who you are. And when you leave, you'll always be welcome back exactly who you are. That should just be, that's it. That's it. I just won't have that sort of
bitchy culture
around me. Yeah.
Have you ever seen signs of it in your clinic over the years, and how did you make sure you stomped it out?
Do you know what? I'm very, again, I keep things very small. My circle is very small. The two girls that are with me, they're not with me by mistake. They're there because they were the right fit for my business. And obviously Abby's coming over. She's actually building her own clients, but again, she's got a good fit. She fits into the same sort of belief system and culture system and ethics that we have.
I saw an Instagram post of you actually talking about one of your staff members. Tell us that story, because she started off as a client. Did she start off as a client with you? Or did she, I can't remember the name. Did she start off maybe as an admin assistant?
Right, so Lorna's actually a very good friend of mine. We met at sixth form, we went travelling, we done Australia together. She came home, she was a PA in London, and when she took maternity leave, I'd started this business, and she stepped in to help me with my admin, because this is no secret to any of my clients, admin is definitely not my strong area. I'm good in the clinic, I'm not so great on the clinic. So she stepped in to help me with my admin, and I had, at this point, salons contacting me, asking me if I would do clinic days with them for their clients, and I just had no extra days. I couldn't stretch myself anymore, and I guess Lorna saw an opportunity and was like, do you know what, I'm going to train. I want to come over, I want to work with you. And at this point as well, she'd also trained in beauty. So when she was on maternity leave, and she was very good at eyelashes, and she'd built her clients up in eyelashes, she's very particular, very precise and very good. And I just thought, do you know what, yeah, you do need to train, and we're not going to lose them clinics, you're going to take them. And that's what happened.
Yeah, how long ago was that now?
Oh my God, so that must have been 12 years ago.
Wow, long time. She's still with you today?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then Laura and I met in 2020. So we went into the first lockdown, where we couldn't obviously open the salon. And it was at that point I decided to train in aesthetics, because I thought, actually, I've got the time to be able to do that now. So I started doing all the studying, and Lauren was on the same course, and we worked our way all the way up to our level 7 qualification. And yeah, she came over to step in and do that side of things, because obviously I can't do everything myself. So she specialised in certain things that I didn't as well.
Yeah.
She does that.
Do you still enjoy what you do? Yes. You love it?
I like what I do, love what I do more than the business, if that makes sense. So when you get to this kind of level, you'll be told by many people you need to work on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
And I love working in the business. Working on the business is hard for me. I know it needs to be done, but it's not something I'm naturally motivated at. I love opening that door, seeing the client, having that human interaction, and yeah, just doing what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And then all of the other stuff is a little bit more tasking.
Well, I mean, you could kind of argue from a different perspective that you working in the business, because of the nature of your business, is actually working on the business to a degree, because it still generates the revenue.
It generates the revenue. If you're looking at kind of from a business point of view and sort of business coaching, obviously, you know, you put systems in place, you put people in place, and suddenly the business starts to generate and roll for and work for you.
Yeah.
And I get that. As a business person, I understand that, but I also don't want to lose part of the business that I love.
You've invested quite a lot in mentorships.
Yes.
Was it worth it?
Yes. I 100% back that you should invest in yourself continuously your whole life. There isn't, you cannot make a mistake when you invest in yourself, as long as you are taking what you need from that, learning from it. And, you know, there are people that have got information and systems and valuable, like, education, or it's not the word I'm looking for. They've been there, they've experienced it, they've made the mistakes, they're passing on what works, what doesn't work. Like, take that, listen to that, use it.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think investing in mentorships can be great. I'm a big advocate of it. I've invested in some great mentorships. I've invested equally, to be honest with you, in some terrible mentorships too.
100%. Because let's face it, again, we know everything's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes people are good at selling, or they're not good at delivering what they've sold.
Yeah.
That's a fact, isn't it?
And 100%. Yeah.
You know, you do have to kind of look into things and make sure, obviously, that you're investing in the right things.
Yeah. I think as well, even if you invest in 10 mentorships over 10 years and you've invested, say, total 50 grand into 10 mentorships over 10 years, even if 9 of them were rubbish, but you got value from one of them, that could be enough to 4x, 5x, 10x your business.
Absolutely.
And I mean, how much is a university degree? Lauren, you went to uni. How much did you spend on your uni degree?
We spent 30 grand before, then that's double that in debt.
30 grand, double that in debt. So you have £30,000 times 2.
Every year, the interest on my student loan goes up. So even though I've taken back on it, like, even though I've paid some of it back, I think it's actually higher this year than it was last year, because the interest still keeps getting added, and I don't pay it back at a rate that matches the.
So just to clarify, if someone goes to uni and it costs 30 grand, they end up paying back double that in interest.
Depends on how quickly you pay it back, but interest is crazy.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
So I think, taking into consideration that, you know, people spend £60,000 on a university degree to learn from a textbook written in the 90s that has no real relevance to right now with AI, how it's transforming the world. If you're not willing to invest a couple of thousand to get the life you want, then realistically, you probably don't deserve that life.
Not just investing money.
Time.
You have to invest your time. That's, I think, what some people miss. Do you think that things, like I said, everything is a sales technique? Okay, I see things, and we're a quick scrolling nation, yeah. So you have to catch people, and you have to get to the point really, really quickly to then make someone stop and look into it a bit more. So you get all the hooks and everything that catches the eye. But you have to realize, when you're buying into something like that there is no quick fix and there is no easy way. Like, what you put into something is what you'll get out of it. And the beginning is the hardest, okay? Because you start with 0 clients and 0 trust. And you have to really, really work and put in the hours. And then anything that you kind of get back from that, you have to reinvest up in the skill and understanding business. And then you get to a point where, once you've put in all the hard work, then you start to see the growth. And that's where you can then start to pick and choose where your part is in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Why do you think, in your opinion, most people who go into the aesthetics industry or semi-permanent makeup, why do you think most of them just don't make it?
I think they're sold the dream a little bit. It's no secret that the industry is quite unregulated. There are things, obviously, now that are being put in place and things that are being highlighted, and it, you know, it's having some big changes, which is very much needed. But I think it's a week's course for the access course, and it's sold as, you know, no experience needed, and this and this, and you're going to be getting 1 client a week will make you this much money, and 2 clients a week will make you this, and it kind of like gives you this big old numbers game.
Yeah.
Not the reality. It's never going to be the reality straight away. Actually, I am a business owner and I am doing very well, but actually, let's talk about my business expenses. Let's talk about my investments each year. Let's talk about how much money I've invested in myself over these years to progress and to get better. And actually, do you know what? It's not something that's going to stop. Those are ongoing costs.
Yeah, I agree. You made a good point there. I see this a lot in my space, just the online space as well. People ask you, how much did you make last month? 50,000. Okay, but did you make 50,000 or did you generate the revenue of 50,000? They're very different things.
Absolutely. You go, you know, 6 figures,
Yeah.
business owner, and okay, well, you can be a 6-figure business owner.
And what's your profit?
But if you're selling something for £10, but it's costing you £9 to actually bring that £10 product in,
Yeah.
you know, come on, let's.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I'm so hesitant when I see like a lot of online gurus saying, oh, I make 30,000 a month. Okay, well, you know, you're in business. So I know I'm in business. There's been months where I've turned over big numbers, but I've made less money than when I was doing maybe half the revenue, because overheads naturally increase when revenue, depending on your business. I genuinely think the only business models where you hit those 90% profit margins are usually when you're just, to be honest with you, probably to a degree, I wouldn't say scamming completely, but selling something which requires no real delivery, i.e. an online course. Some online courses are great, but most are not. Most are not. Most are a scam, in my opinion.
Agree.
I've bought so many of them. A couple have been good. Some of them have been all right. Most of them have just been shit, to be honest.
Agree.
So unless you're selling courses, you know, you're not going to be doing like 90% profit margins. I mean, for my agency, my profit margins may be like between 20 to 30%, which in the grand scheme of things is okay. But if I'm doing 50K, I'm not making 50K, you know?
Exactly. It's just about people's expectations, isn't it? And the reality of it. And it's so easy for people to perceive a lie from social media.
Yeah.
Again, you know, I am not going to post me having a meltdown when I literally need to do the school run and we're already 10 minutes late and the kids are still, you know, swinging their freaking T-shirts around in the kitchen to, I don't know, Cotton Eye Joe. Which is like, I'm not posting that meltdown, am I? It's... you're only kind of showing what you show. People need to remember that.
Yeah. 100%. I do think maybe this is where life has become so serious though, because like 10 years ago, Instagram was still a thing. Was it still a thing? Yeah, it was. But do you remember Instagram just used to be photos? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Still images.
It was just photos. I mean, I am so far behind on social media. Such a dinosaur when it comes to social media, hence my relationship with yourself. It's got to a stage where in business, the reality is you don't have to be good at your job. You have to be good at social media. And if you're good at social media and you can get social media interaction, you can get work.
Yeah.
You can be fantastic at your job, absolutely amazing and shit on social media. And basically you're the best kept secret, aren't you? Because nobody knows that you're good.
Yeah.
But social media is a huge thing in business at the moment.
It's one of the most important things, but this is going to be something that you probably wouldn't ever expect me to say. I own a social media marketing agency, but I believe the best in the industry, like truly the best in the industry, the same way how you got referrals of other referrals. If you've perfected your skill at what you do, you'll be fine without social media. I do believe that. Like if you didn't have it, if your Instagram got blocked tomorrow, you would be fine. You've got a great client base.
If my Instagram got blocked tomorrow, my business wouldn't change.
Yeah.
That is the reality for my business, because I have built clients that are already well established.
Yes, 100%. Social media is a great tool to grow, but the most important thing, no marketing agency, no course is going to be able to give you the most important skill, and that's just becoming excellent at what you do.
Yeah.
I think if you can be excellent at what you do, you'll always be okay.
Yeah. I think what social media gives me is when new clients come normally from a referral, they will start to follow social media.
Yeah.
I think what it gives me is when by the time they come to me, they feel like they already know me.
Yes.
And they're already feeling a lot more comfortable, because some of the treatments that we do is a big thing. And a lot of my clients, and I hear it so often, is that they have sat back and they have thought about wanting this done for so long, some years. And it's actually been a really big step for them to take. And they take it because they already feel like they kind of understand and know who you are before they walk through the door. So that's what social media has given. Yeah,
100%. It does help. It's an important factor. I mean, I owe a lot to social. I wouldn't have a company if it wasn't for social media. Yeah. It's the whole service we offer is helping people grow, generate revenue from social media. The majority of my clients, other than referrals, do come from social media. So it's a great tool. It really is. But unless you perfect your skill set, you might get clients from social media, but they ain't going to stay. Yeah. So lifetime value is the most important thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. Tell us a little bit about then, like, 2026, the industry is changing a lot. I feel like the aesthetics industry is matured or is maturing. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
People are going for more of this natural look, right?
And I love it. I'm here for it. I just don't feel like people should want to change themselves. They should just want to be the best version of themselves. And what aesthetics does do is it gives people the opportunity to boost their confidence or make tweaks or improvements to things that maybe they have been a bit self-conscious of. And some treatments are massively life-changing.
Yeah.
I don't offer this, but obviously the rhinoplasty, like that makes a huge difference to people's lives. Eyebrows, again, huge difference to people, can totally transform their face. So that's the part of the job I love the most, actually.
Yeah, 100%. Does any like client journey spring to mind if I was to ask you, like, give me a couple of examples of clients that have walked through the door where you've given them like life-changing results?
So there's a lady that springs to mind. I wouldn't say I gave her life-changing results, but what did happen was was life-changing for her. So again, it was just an eyebrow treatment. But this particular lady, it was another client of mine who I'd done, phoned up and made the appointment for her. So she had a friend, seen her eyebrows, wants her eyebrows done. So she made the appointment for her. And initially, straight away, I was aware that she couldn't phone me herself. Like, it was just something that I was like, okay, why is her friend ringing? We went with it. She then came to the appointment again with her friend, and she really struggled to make eye contact with me. Now, obviously, this is quite an important treatment, and I need her to obviously be comfortable with what we're doing, to understand what we're doing. With eyebrows, again, you do a pre-draw and you go through everything with the client, because what a client tells you they want isn't necessarily what they want. Okay, so you've got to break that down, and you've got to actually understand. If they come in and they say, oh, I want really dark, bold eyebrows, that might not necessarily be my dark, bold. They might mean something completely different. So you've got to break that down. So we do the pre-draw, and I asked her to look in the mirror, and she wouldn't look in the mirror. And it was actually quite heartbreaking that she felt physically uncomfortable looking in the mirror. And I actually ended up, eyebrows would normally take me 2 hours. I think her first appointment probably took about 3.5, because I actually spent quite a lot of time with her working on why we needed to look in the mirror, and was there a part of the mirror that I could cover where she could see her brows, but maybe not her face. Like, where would she be comfortable with what I needed her to do, and where she needed to be. And long story short, basically, I worked with her. We'd done her eyebrows. Again, she came back for a top up with that client. A year later, she phoned me herself for a colour boost. So I thought, well, this is a big step forward. And she came in for that appointment by herself. And she just basically explained that it sounds really silly, but just to having her eyebrows and doing something for herself. And it wasn't necessarily the eyebrows that done it, but it was making that first choice to do something for herself that had started to build that confidence in her. And I mean, we're about 4 or 5 years down the line now, and this woman is a totally different woman.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
so she never really
it's not just about the eyebrows. I think it's about the journey that we started, but it's the power that small changes can have on bigger kind of outcomes.
100%. Maybe she wasn't really ever used to just like investing in herself. Do you get a lot of that? Do you get a lot of women who maybe come to you who maybe stop loving themselves? They might maybe in their 40s, etc.
Do you know, Sam, I think, again, as somebody that's been through the journey of being a mother, I think that transition, generally women carry quite a lot of load, and I'm not taking that away from the men, but generally we carry quite a lot of load. When we become mothers or parents, we spend so much of our time forward thinking of other people and other needs and running with it, that I feel like a lot of people lose a sense of their self, whether it just be because, you know, there's no time or no money or just they're exhausted or they're just running on autopilot. Like, I definitely got to a stage at a point in parenting where I kind of, someone asked me what my hobbies were and I was like, oh my God, don't have anything. And I was like, and then that was it. I was like, right, okay, actually that was a point for me where I recognized I need to start doing, I need to fill my own cup. I need to do stuff for myself because I wasn't the best version of myself for anybody, because I just was in autopilot and just run down and just exhausted. So, and I think a lot of women get to that stage. And the biggest thing I noticed between my female client and my male client are my male clients just come in and they just book and they just pay, and there is no question, there is no reason behind it or excuse, where a lot of my female clients will be like, I'm going to do this as a birthday treat, or they're going to get this for me for Christmas, or like there's always a reason why to justify why they're spending that money or that time on themselves. And I think that's the shift that we need to make, is actually you should do this without guilt.
Yeah.
Allowed to do this without guilt.
Yeah, 100%. What's next for Inka Belle? Like, where do you want to take the brand through 2026 and beyond?
I don't have like big, massive ambitions for the brand because I'm so comfortable with what I've already achieved. Lauren has spoken to me about whether we should move into doing the training element of things, and I wouldn't rule that out. But what I would say is I'm not willing to do anything unless I can give 100% to it and I can bring something that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do anything half-hearted. It's not off the table, but it's definitely not there until I can give 100% to it. I'm also very aware that perfectionism doesn't exist in a business either. And so it's not about getting it perfect, but it's about giving it 100% of my time and effort.
100%. And how can people find you on social media? They want to give you a follow.
Oh my God, I don't even know my own platform. Is it at Inka Belle at Inka_Belle? Oh my God, Sam, I don't know.
We'll get a pop-up. We'll edit it on the screen. But I'm pretty sure if you just search Inka, INKA
Belle.
Inka_Belle. Make sure you give Kierra a follow. She's doing huge things in the industry, and follow her journey. She's producing some amazing content.